Is the government trying to create a bubble and ultimately a crash in the housing market? Folks, I have seen content from doomers over the last 48 hours that are basically saying that the government is trying to set up the housing bubble 2.0. They are doing the same things that caused the crash last time. So I thought we should have an honest discussion with a couple of guys who have been through the battles, been through the wars, and ask ourselves, are we repeating the exact same things? Folks, of course, I'm talking about Freddie Mac's proposal to initiate second loans, which is something they have not done. There is talk about this unleashing somewhere between $1, 2, or possibly $3 trillion. There is doom among doom about a housing bubble. But let's talk about the facts, not scary headlines. Matt, heard you were out at UWM, actually spoke with Freddie Mac. Is there some secret behind the scenes thing going on where the government's like, we want to create a bubble, we want it to crash, and we want BlackRock and Blackstone to own all homes? Is that what's going on?
Absolutely not. I'm going to hit some people with some facts, so stay tuned. I'm going to show some real stats with you that kind of disproves that. And it's crazy when people start to compare apples to oranges and grapes to watermelons, when they compare some of the products that were around during the crash with a second lien like loan that with LTV requirements that cap at 80%, credit requirements, income, all that stuff. It's just it's ludicrous. But what I'll say first is I talked to Freddie Mac while I was out at UWM last week. They had 3 representatives out there, and I went straight to them and I said, how soon is this product going to come? Not because I'm going to go out and sell it to everybody, or not because it's some crazy game-changing product, but because, in my opinion, it's better for the consumer than their options. And a lot of consumers, Mike, when there's 32 trillion in home equity and they're struggling for one way or another, they're going to find a way to tap that equity. And so when I make a video and people are like, "Oh, this is not the answer, bro, more debt." If they have more debt, like it or not, I just want them to have the best product for it, right? And so
let's break this down a little, because this annoys me when people are purported to be experts that are nothing more than creating doom. So first and foremost, that point you just made is awesome. These products exist already. You can get a second mortgage.
100%.
You can get an equity line. You're just going to pay through the nose. So if you need money, you can get it today.
Same product, better terms is what it is.
Same product, better term. Second, you have to be a moron, an absolute moron. And I'm talking to one big channel, which I just watched his video today. You're a moron for thinking that the same lending standards are happening today that happened last time.
Not even close.
We are capping at 80%. We're not going to 103%. We are maintaining income and credit rating and all of these things. So you're a moron for telling your followers that we're repeating the same thing. Just complete hogwash and just a travesty that he would put that out there. Third, there will be people that take advantage of this. Absolutely. And there will be people that use their house as an ATM and do stupid things. We are the American consumer, and that is not going to change. But this product will at least cap the stupidity. And to your point, they're going to go get it one way or another. Might as well be a lower rate.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's just annoying.
Some things that I saw, Mike, that were interesting too, because people see this and like, oh my gosh, everyone's going to be leveraged to their eyeballs. Everything's going to explode. The market is going to crash. I think this stat that I heard yesterday, because I was looking at some stuff, was for all homes. So some of them are paid off and that probably weighs it down. But the average like loan to value across all real estate, do you know what that percentage is?
Wow, if you're including free and clear homes, which we all know is roughly 40%, I'm going to go the average LTV's got to be 60. I'm just guessing.
26.
Shut up. 26?
Yeah. So we talk about 32 trillion in home equity.
That's nuts. I want to see that data source. That's remarkably low, but
I mean, and we'll fact check it. I mean,
Yeah,
ORAT
it's
channel. Go try to find the average, LTV of
of
all.
all single family homes.
But
Yeah,
but here's the thing. Freddie basically told me with so many words that that FHFA that they submitted, and we're going to do 30 days of questioning, that ended on May 16th. That was April
Oh
16th.
wow, it's done. 30 days is
So
over.
so 30 days, the public can comment. They take that. Once that period is over, they submit to have this product. I think it's coming.
Oh yeah,
They think it's coming.
No, it's coming.
I asked them the question, you guys do it, Fannie follows. They nod, yes. That's also a thing.
Seems reasonable. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like me and Mike talked about, I can make a video on, how it's going to be a helpful product. Now it's going to be an alternative, some higher rate stuff. Other people can make a video about how it's going to ruin the world. The fact of the matter is, it's not going to make that big of a splash, in my opinion. It's going to be a new product with a great low rate. And this is the conversation I keep having, Mike, is even if there's attributes to a home equity line of credit that some people like, oh, I want the line to be open and all that. For the vast majority of the people that I talk to, that quite honestly, some of them would admit aren't that good at managing money. They need a fixed rate with a certain term, and they need to say, okay, I'm going to take 80,000. This credit card debt, I've been swimming upstream for 3.5 years and haven't made any headway. Just give me a $437 a month payment where I can wash all that off. And I know you amortize it over 20 years. None of us are trying to hide the fact that, like, maybe like just going bare bone expenses and paying this thing off in 4 years would be the best case scenario. People aren't going to do that. Right. And so for the people that need like the bumpers when they bowl, or the financial bumpers, this is the product that's going to work for them. It's for a lot of people, like, while no debt is the best alternative, for most, they don't have that option. It's what kind of debt are you going to have? If you're going to have any kind of debt, you want the low rate fixed over a period of time.
There's two more things. And one thing I've not heard anybody else talk about. We'll get to that one in a minute. I have yet to see a proposed interest rate on this second. Are we thinking like 8-ish, or did they have a?
Yeah, I can't remember what I saw in there. It was either like 8.5 or 9 when they had that
sub double digits.
Right. And a lot of the home equity line of credit, Mike, people are paying a point or paying a point and a half to get an 11, and a quarter.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be
it'll be good for the consumer, because what happens is competition.
Competition
happens and other products will go lower. But here's another one. I haven't heard anybody pick up this piece, and I only picked it up because I went through the last crash. You want to know one sneaky thing that Freddie Mac is doing, and possibly Fannie Mae? They're only, and I want to stress the word only, doing these seconds on Freddie Mac firsts. Why is that important? Well, you went through the last crisis. What happened, unfortunately, is the first was owned by one institution and the second was owned by a different institution, and they wouldn't agree. So that forced foreclosure. Now, if the first and the second is owned by the same institution and you get in trouble, it is far easier to do a loan workout with a single institution who has interest in the first and the second. It is just factual that one of the subtleties of this program that will be important if the world comes to an end is Freddie is only taking on Freddie first. Freddie seconds, Freddie first. Fannie first, Fannie seconds. That is something nobody's talked about.
Yeah, that's a good point, Mike. And something for people to understand too is, generally speaking, that second lien position is a risky place to be because the first takes precedent. So the thing short sales, people get in trouble, they can't make payments. First, you're covered. Second, best of luck to you. And so, like you said, Freddie owns the first. So writing the second is less risk. Therefore, the consumer gets a better price. And Fannie's going to do the same thing. They're going to write Fannie to Fannie when they come along. And so, that's one of the reasons why they can offer it at such a great rate. You want to talk about other things people are going to hate me for when I talk about them?
I love it. Let's do it. Let's get some more hate on the channel.
While I was out at Pontiac, Michigan, visiting the number one lender in the country, UWM, about 5,000 brokers showed up last week. They do a annual UWM Live, they announced, and again, this is something that UWM, as the biggest lender in the country, they're going to get tomatoes thrown on stage at them, regardless of what they do. But they are just opening up and saying, oh, this product exists elsewhere. Let's make it cheaper, better, faster. The latest product is down payment assistance. Nothing down.
I knew it.
And so it's funny because, you know, people will get wild about it and how it's the worst thing ever. It's 3% silent second. You pay it off when you refinance or
sell.
Yeah. Or sell. And so you get the same great terms on the first, because it's really just a conventional first at 97%. And so versus some of these other programs, like state programs, you have to go get their first, and you're subject to whatever terms that they want to give you. And if they're the only game in town, like there's a great FHA down payment assistance product, and I won't name the lender because I like them, but you pay a premium. You pay 8.25% on the first when the FHA rate is 6.5%. So I tell people it's a trade-off, right? You're going to get the down payment assistance, but you're going to pay 8.25% until you refinance out of this. In this case, it's truly down payment assistance, silent second, right behind any first that you can get. And the problem for Californians have always been these programs don't work if it's only for less than 80% AMI. And so if you have a 700 credit score or better, now this is something too, you want to talk about doomers comparing this to the last. You have to have a 700 credit score to get the product that has no income cap. You can go down to 640, I think, with 80% or lower AMI. But back in 05 and 06, I know for certain you could have a 590 credit score.
Yeah,
0%
sub 600 for sure. Yeah.
So that's coming. Brokers are already talking about it. It's going to be underwritten. Honestly, like when Fannie and Freddie in that automated software have the debt to income ratios, they also see that the funds are down payment assistance. That all plays into the algorithm. It's not easy to get these. You can't have a 590 delinquents, no assets. And so it's going to be a product that those that qualify, like state workers in California are the perfect example. It's going to be hard and a long battle to save 30 grand. But if collectively they make 11,000, 12,000 a month as a family, they can afford a payment. They want to buy a house. And for those people, down payment assistance isn't for everybody, but if it's that or wait 8 years, I'm not waiting as long as Dave Ramsey wants us to wait, Mike. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no. Well, I think we've learned a couple of things over the years. First off, doomers suck. I just love picking on them. But the other thing is owning assets is the key to wealth, but it has to be assets you can hold for the long term. You can't put in debt structures or variable rate debt or short-term debt that's going to explode on you because you just don't know where you will be. I think the greatest crime is folks like and all these other doomers who were telling people not to buy in 2020 and 21 and 22 and all of this. Now they're just seeing them getting farther and farther behind. If you bought an asset like Simon, the uneducated economist, who was nervous as hell, I just spoke to him yesterday. Now he's got 100K in equity. He's got a mortgage payment that's about 75% of rent, and he's enjoying life. You know, now you get in a scrape and you need some cash to pay for an emergency. You have an equity line. The key to getting wealthy is owning assets that you can comfortably own for a decade. And listening to fearmongers and idiots in their mom's basements who are renters and not worth anything. It's unfortunate that people listen to what they want to hear because it makes them feel good, perhaps. Maybe it gives them permission to not do the work. I mean, doing the work's hard. Being consistent is hard. Sacrificing is hard. Much rather just YOLO and, go blow my money and, hope I get some more STEMI checks. But man.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing too, is it's easy to point excuses for why you're not doing something or why it's, unfair. You can't do anything. I honestly, Mike, I can't help but laugh when I see some of the doom stuff, because I see it and I think to myself, like, you can with a straight face press record and make predictions about now it's coming for 5 years straight and not think to yourself, like, do you think anybody notices that I said this 5 years ago and then we went 40% appreciation in that market I'm talking about? Like, you can't, I don't know how you think that the internet unfortunately rewards that behavior.
Well, here's the deal. Those, I mean, I think the greatest, I mean, first off, it's a system, so good for them. All the other doomers out there, congratulations. You found a way to make money. Doom sells, so good for you. Unfortunately, if you're out there trying to actually help people versus profit off them, um, you would encourage them to do the work and figure it out. It's never easy. It'll never be easy. I would argue it's a lot harder now than a few years ago. That they really hurt some people. I wonder when people are going to hold them accountable. That's what I wonder. I wonder when somebody's going to hold them accountable. It's pretty.
No
crazy.
one's come after Diana Olick. She's gone a decade.
They could just keep talking. That makes sense. All right. Well, at the end of the day, folks, I do not. So at the end of the day, this Freddie Mac thing, the products already exist. They're just higher rates, so you're going to get optionality for lower rates. There are reasons that you should tap your equity when emergencies happen. Most of you shouldn't, right? Most of you shouldn't repeat this idiocy of last time where you just splurge. That's your house is not an ATM. Don't do that. It is far better structured, capped at 80% versus 103. It's Freddie Mac and Freddie Mac first and second. I don't think anybody's caught that yet, but that's an important thing for if problems happen. This is not the government trying to create housing bubble 2.0. It's just not. I mean, I couldn't believe I watched that video earlier. Somebody telling me this is the government trying to create housing bubble 2.0. It's insulting at an intellectual level. So it's crazy.
Right. Yeah. And so, we'll see as that stuff starts to roll out. I think it's coming in the next 30 days. Until Fannie comes out with their version, there's really simple online tools. It's funny because there's, programs that were available 8 years ago where you had to know who owned your loan. And the good news for people is like Fannie Mae lookup tool, Freddie Mac lookup tool online. You type in a few points of data, the last four of your social and property address, voila, it'll tell you who owns your loan. So, I'll continue to pump out more info on that. Go check out Matt the Mortgage Guy on YouTube and subscribe there. That along with the down payment assistance from UWM, because it's not for everybody, but it's gonna work for some. And I know plenty of people that are ecstatic today, Mike, that they bought in 2019 with down payment assistance instead of waited till they could save up. And quite honestly, sometimes you just get behind the curve and they wouldn't be able to buy in 2024.
Oh no, can you imagine telling yourself you were going to save 20% starting in 2020 and just watching it get away from you?
Yeah. I mean, that would unfortunately hurt. There's real life examples of that, Mike, that I have where people I talk to them on the phone, they're like, gosh, and I try to, hey man, there's nothing you can do now.
Yeah, exactly. No, you don't have a DeLorean. You're not going back in time.
Right. Don't kick yourself while you're down, but I mean, I literally, Mike, have Excel spreadsheets of showing people scenarios. Here's what it looks like at 350, 375, and not only rate and price, but all of the things where they're like, gosh darn it. Why didn't I not just put 5% down when I could? I thought in my head that I should save 10 or 20. Not usually the case, but this all goes back to what we preach. Do the work. Know the numbers. You might do the work and figure out now's not the time for you. And I'm fine with that. Like I talk to people every single day where I'm a presenter of information. I'm a sounding board for you to say, what about this, Matt? What about that? And at the end of the day, you ultimately decide whether now's the right time for you. Because there's no timing the housing market. The timing has to do with you, your financial situation, your lifestyle and living situation and all that stuff. So when you go to greatmortgagebroker.com, you fill out the form. Me and my team are going to reach out. We're going to help you get pre-approved. We're going to help answer your questions, and then you're going to decide what works.
There you go. I appreciate you, man. And if somebody wanted to get an honest review of a quote they have or get started, where do we send them?
Greatmortgagebroker.com is the best place. If, you know what I'm going to set up here, especially as refis become more prevalent, is somewhere where somebody can go fill out, here's my scenario, upload either a loan estimate from somebody or their current mortgage, because there's going to be a lot of break-even analysis coming as rates start to trickle down, Mike. Here they come.
Here they come. That's right. Thank you, buddy.
Thanks, brother.